In this video, we're going to introduce you to graphing in a rectangular coordinate system. So it's important, since it's a new topic, that you get the following key terms by the end of this video. And those are quadrants, y-axis, origin, x-axis, x-coordinate, order pair, y-coordinate, and rectangular coordinate system. So listen for those as we go through this video. Make sure you understand what each of those mean. So we're going to start by looking at a rectangular coordinate system, which is basically we're going to put two number lines together. And the horizontal number line is going to be called the x-axis, and you see it here. And then we're going to put another number line vertically on the paper, and that's going to be our y-axis. Now notice how this is going to split our plane into four different regions, and we call those regions quadrants. And this first quadrant on the upper right hand side, that's called the first quadrant, quadrant number 1. This next quadrant here on the upper left hand side is quadrant number 2. In the lower left-hand corner, that's quadrant number 3. And this region in the lower right-hand corner is our fourth quadrant. So those are our fourths, our quadrants in our system. Now in this graph, we're going to plot points, and each point is going to be an order pair. It's going to be denoted by an order pair, and we say it's ordered because it's important which number comes first. And the first number is always going to be your x-coordinate. Here's an example in this order pair 1, 3. 1 is the x-coordinate, and then 3 is your y-coordinate. So order matters because order will give you a different point. So to graph this first order pair 1, 3, let's go to our coordinate system. And right here where the two axes meet, that's the point 0, 0, and that's called the origin. We're going to count from 0, 0. And since we need the x-coordinate to be 1, positive 1, then just like in a number line in one dimension, this is 0, then the positive numbers for x will be on the right-hand side of the axes, and the left are going to be our negative numbers. And with our y-axis, the upper numbers will be positive, and the numbers below the origin will be negative. So for 1, 3, we're going to count 1 on the x-axis, and then we're going to go up 3 on the y-axis, and that's our order pair 1, 3. That's our point. Now, we've got some other red points here on our example, and so we're going to identify the coordinates of each point, and then we're going to identify the quadrant, if any, in which the point is located. So let's start with this first point here. Now this point, as you know, is in quadrant number 1, and its x-coordinate is positive 3, and then up 2 for y, so 3, 2. That's our order pair for that point. Now let's go to this point. This is in quadrant number 2. Our x-coordinate is negative. It's negative 2. And our y-coordinate is up to 3. So positive 3. So negative 2, 3. That's the coordinates of this point. Here's our next point. Again in quadrant 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 5 for x. And up 1 for y, so our order pair is negative 5, 1. The next point we have is in quadrant number 3. Quadrant number 3, and then this is going to be our x-coordinate is negative 1, and our y is 1, 2, negative 2. So negative 1, negative 2 for this order pair. Then we have here in quadrant number 4, we have an order pair. That's x is positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. X is positive 7, but y is negative 1. So 7, negative 1 are the coordinates of this point. And finally, this point, which is right on the x-axis, that's in no quadrant. We say that that is not in a quadrant. It's on the x-axis. And we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the x-coordinate and 0 for y. Since it's on the x-axis, y is always 0 on 4 points on the x-axis, by the way. Okay, so if we have distinct points plotted on an xy plane, then that graph is called a scatter plot. So what we had above was an example of a scatter plot, and now we are going to create our own scatter plot by plotting the given points. And they want us to label the axes, so we can do that. So let's move this here so you can see better. Okay, so this, again, the horizontal axis is our x-axis and the vertical axis is our y-axis. And we're going to plot, the first point is 0, -3. Remember that 0 is our x-coordinate and -3 is our y-coordinate. So 0 and then down 3. So there's our point. I'm going to label it so you can see it better. So 0, -3. There it is. That's our first point. The next point is -2, 1. So x is -2 and up 1 for y. So here's our next point. And again, I'm labeling so you can see it better. 2, 2 for the next point. So x is 2, y is +2. So here's our point 2, 2. And our last point is -4, -4. So x is negative and down 4 for y. Puts it here on the third quadrant. So -4, -4. Great, and that's our scatter plot. Okay, I think now we have one more example. We do. This is use the table to make a line graph this time. So we're going to connect the dots basically. Here's our table, and we have an xy coordinate for each point. And so notice we have 5 points. And so we're going to start graphing. The first point is -2, -1. So again, -2 for x, -1 for y. We'll put a point there. And our next point is -1, +1. So -1 for x, +1 for y. Let's put a point there. Here's the origin, 0, 0. We know that that's where the axes meet, so we'll put a point there. 1, -1. So x is +1, but y is -1. So we'll put a point there. And our last point is 2, 1. So there are our little points. And now to make the line graph, we're just going to basically connect the dots. So draw a line from this point to that, and there, and finally here. These should be straight lines, but you know, I'm here with the pen. So good work. Let's go on to the next section.